Hi, everybody. This is day 1650. 1650 days since Richard was premeditatedly murdered on Fort Bliss in the line of duty. In the line of duty, okay? Um, so that has been confirmed. And and I was asked, so this was internal. And one thing that needs to be said over and over again, and I don't think I've done it justice. I mean, here, very few cases, if any, have a live update every day, have a live press conference every day. You can ask me questions. I can see right now if you have any questions. But you have to also take into consideration that Richard's case is huge. It is so big, and it involves it's almost 30 agencies now. Okay, international, so including the Mexican officials, um, federal and state, and then also the Mexican military, and also Interpol. This case is huge. It's ongoing. It's active in multiple different ways. Um, so, y- you know, uh, we have to really be careful not to interfere in the case, right? Not to do anything to interfere in the case. So I can tell you so many things, but also I don't want to risk interfering in those active and ongoing investigations. I can tell you, because of doing this every day, um, that if I was saying something that was so negative against the military, that they would have a press conference, that they would absolutely correct what I was saying. So when I'm talking very sternly about our generals, General Mealy, General McConville, General Garrett, Lieutenant General, these flag generals, right, which are Donna Martin. I was asked about Donna Martin today, being the provost marshal at the time, over Vanessa Guillen's case, and others, because remember, um, Morales was found um, while looking for Vanessa Guillen. His remains were found. There's other things, other cases that involves at Fort Hood, and Fort Hood is absolutely going to be Fort Hood again. From what I've heard, Fort Bragg is going to be Fort Bragg again, because we have to get to the bottom of this treasonous behavior. And that's exactly what this is, like General Garrett, four-star general. I would even say General Kelly, um, because he was DHS at the time. So, and those that are, these individuals have resources. We've given them the resources. We've entrusted the resources to them, and they have betrayed us. This is what is so bad. They're not like just regular citizens that are hardworking, making their own money, and then doing what they're doing with their own money. Okay, these are individuals that they are given, entrusted with resources, which are a lot of individuals, a lot of service members, and all the resources that come with that, including weapons, including technology, um, including funds, including transportation. I mean, there's so many resources that they get. Our military is $1 trillion military. When you look at the $1 trillion, right? you know, people don't, it's hard to comprehend what $1 trillion is. You have to go and look it up. Go look it up, look up the stacks of money. Try to wrap your head around what can $1 trillion buy. And then and because I've done that exercise, and it is just astounding. $1 trillion. And that's why I say, what are we getting for our money? It's absolutely being, we're being robbed. It's highway robbery. So, do these generals, this leadership, when I say this, let me tell you, General Garrett, Michael Garrett, if we didn't have evidence against him for his abuse of power, for his betrayal to the American people, and of course to our own son, Richard Halliday, and to us, for his actions, and um, the conflicts of interest that he has. If we didn't have that evidence, he would be very upset with us for saying that he is a traitor to our country, that he needs to face a death penalty, right? He would be very angry. And the same thing with Donna Martin. Donna Martin, being the IG of the Army, she was given a 3rd star for her treacherous activity, right? For what she did, the cover up that she did in the Vanessa Guillen case and our case, she was given a 3rd star. This is absolutely an indication that there's a huge problem within the Senate Arms Committee. And we saw that through um, Secretary of Defense Hegseth's confirmation. We saw that there's a problem in the Senate Arms Committee, their intentions. Okay, their intentions are, not all of them, but some of them just no good. And why would you give a star and give a position of the IG of an army to someone as treacherous as Donna Martin? And she met with us in person, right? She was at the Task Force Find Richard Halliday meeting. She was leading that meeting. Um, and they lied to us. They lied to us. They absolutely had Leilani Hart's confession, her sworn confession. They absolutely had the October 16th documents from her, because our very first task force wasn't until November of 2020. Okay. Even though Richard was murdered in July of 2020, the first task force, because we had to work so hard for that. They were obstructing justice. They were blocking any kind of investigation into our son's case, because he exposed the criminal trafficking that's connected to the cartel that is recruited a whole nother criminal um, uh, group that I call the El Paso, the Fort Bliss cartel, the El Paso cartel, the Fort Bliss cartel, and they are absolutely intertwined with the Walmart mass shooting, and they're intertwined with the Santa Teresa uh, International Jetport. They're intertwined with the hundreds of thousands of taken children. They put this, language. They play with language to play with people's minds and say these are unaccompanied migrant minors, but these are taken children, okay? And these taken children were trafficked up through the border into El Paso, onto Fort Bliss, and they were there in the child camp being registered, and then they were being shipped out. And we believe a lot of them were shipped out of the Santa Teresa Jetport. Now, if you know things about that, then let us know, right? This is the information that we're getting. And if, Deliris is a pilot and she's connected to the Santa Teresa international jetport, then she could have something to say about that, right? She could be transparent about what was being shipped out at that airport, um, because we have confirmed that she's a pilot, and she's absolutely tied to the Santa Teresa International Jetport, and also an agent for the Veterans Administration. So she's been a busy woman in her life. She's absolutely connected to the Veterans Affairs, being an agent for them, and knowing that there is uh, a lots of documents from Leilani Hart about the fraudulent fraudulent activities at the VA, where she implicates, or she accuses of forgery and using our soldiers, our disabled veterans, their sensitive information, forging their names, and just committing so much fraud. You have to read the documents, right? And at that task force, Fine Richard Halliday, they had that information, and Leilani Hart is very important to all of this because she is um, Dallas Hart's mother. She's Dallas Hart's mother, and Dallas Hart was Richard's platoon leader, and they kept this from us, and they're keeping our son's remains from us, right? And I think that anyone that looks into this case absolutely wants to throw up, about the egregious criminal behavior of those that we've entrusted with massive amounts of resources, and that they have betrayed us, and they have participated in criminal activity. And this is like Bill Hicks. Um, and, so much is going on, and that I have to update you with the Bill Hicks situation, because this is what's going on, and everybody needs to know it. Um, so Bill Hicks, we were alerted that he was not um, the true district attorney, and we're like, "What are you talking about?" No, he's not the true district attorney. He has failed to sign his statement of officer, which is the anti-bribe statement, and you have to. And I'm like, okay, but then later on he signed it, but it doesn't matter. And I'm like, what do you mean it doesn't matter? My husband's like, what do you mean it doesn't matter? Well, the Texas Constitution says you have to sign the anti-bribe statement, the statement of officer, before you take the oath of office. And that is very important, because you have to swear that you have not taken a bribe to get to this position, that the election was on the up and up, that the appointment was on the up and up. And he didn't do that. And he then proceeded to take the oath of office, and then he signed the statement of officer, but he did it so late. He did it on the 25th, turned it in on the 26th of January of 2021. No, 2022, I believe. Yeah. And so therefore, and I have to think when Rosales came in, 2023. So January 26, 2023. And yes, um, it's midnight. It's midnight. Okay. So January 26th of 2023, they got Rosales, they removed her in duress, December of 2022. So this is really important for everyone to understand that it was never installed properly. Bill Hicks was never installed properly. It was really a soup sandwich, as it's a soup sandwich. It's a messy, messy business, and crimes were committed. And the thing about Bill Hicks is the 26th of January was not a good time for him to sign that because that means the Senate was in session. And, he had to kind of backdate it for when they were in recess. And so there was tampering of a government document during that. Uh, yeah, so it's just a big soup sandwich. And so the point is, he was not the rightful district attorney. He was a usurper. And when that happens, the Texas Constitution provides an answer for that. And the answer is the holdover. The holdover section, the holdover clause, which means that the previous district attorney, the rightful duly elected district attorney, has to be held over. So that means that Yvonne Rosales was still, even if she signs to resign, she cannot do that until there is a replacement, a rightful replacement. And so she has to be held over even with a resignation, even though under the law, a resignation under duress in her situation doesn't count. And clearly it was under duress. But even if it was not under duress, she still was the holdover district attorney. So that was why because she was duly elected, because she was the properly installed, she was, it didn't matter what, I mean, she's Democrat Party. She was voted in. She's a district attorney. That's the way it is. Um, sorry. So that's why we have advocated for her from the moment we found that out, because we're trying to, um, and we've always believed this, that we need to obey the law, right? Sorry, I've been talking all day. So we need to obey the law. So she was the rightful, duly elected district attorney, and Bill Hicks was the usurper. Well, what we're finding out now is that there seems to be some problems with James Montoya. There seems, and we're waiting, but I just wanted to alert everybody that there is a chance that Yvonne Rosales is still the rightful district attorney. There is, there's something that's not right about the installation of James Montoya. Now, do I want that? I'm just telling you the truth. I'm not looking for a problem. I'm looking for the truth. And the district attorney for El Paso, the 34th Judicial District Attorney's Office, is very important for our son's case. So, of course, we want to deal with the one that's not going to mess up our son's case even more. We want to deal with the duly installed, duly elected, duly installed, duly appointed, duly installed district attorney that has real authority. That's what we're looking for. And if that individual is Yvonne Rosales, then that's who we need to recognize. Um, the claims are that the district attorney right now is James Montoya, but something is not right, y'all. Something is not right. And we are in the process of trying to get to the bottom of it. And I think that's really breaking news today. But there's more breaking news, right? There's more breaking news. So I hope that James Montoya is not um, a usurper also. Can you imagine? Two usurpers in a row? No wonder El Paso cannot get things prosecuted properly. Their DA's office is all messed up, right? So, but maybe there's a chance that we're wrong. Okay, we're getting to the bottom of it, but the issue is so big at this time that we feel that it's necessary to report on it. Okay, and because the people have the right to know. The people have the right to know that the court, the El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court, is being hijacked right now by individuals that are not elected, and magistrates, or you can call them judges, that sit on that court must be elected. And so the judicial system in El Paso is really a mess right now because another judge called Mario Raskin Ortiz, he's the chief medical examiner, right? That is a judicial seat, okay? Because he has judicial powers and he cannot be in that position. He is not qualified and he's illegal. He's illegally in this country. And this is not new. There was another case up by Waco that the chief medical examiner was illegal also. And so, when we're trying to get answers for the autopsy reports that we have received, from the chief medical examiner, and the chief medical examiner is up to no good, is connected to 3905 Bliss Avenue, which is connected to the cartels, is connected to the Walmart mass shooting case, is connected to Richard's unit. When the chief medical examiner is illegal and has violated his H-1B visa, which has become a big subject in the media with President Trump, even his administration. And we can't get answers that we can trust because the person is not qualified and is illegal. Then this is a problem for our case, right? This is a problem. And so we have a problem with the judicial system, and we really, want all of this straightened out for the good of our son's case, absolutely, but also for El Pasoans, right? And whatever happens in the judicial system in El Paso, also there are consequences, or there is a domino effect that goes over to the border and in the wider area. So absolutely, this is a concerning topic for us, or manner, a matter. Wow. Um, the other breaking news that we have, thank you, Anicia, for coming on, is that Judge Sam Medrano of the Walmart mass shooting, today or yesterday, late or whatever, did, and of course this is a weekend, so of course he's going to sign it. And I don't think the media is really covering it, but because Find Richard Halliday, because just team Find Richard Halliday, Justice for Richard Halliday is so big. We have gotten confirmation that Judge Sam Medrano of the Walmart mass shooting case did sign the order to withdraw the Walmart mass shooting case from the schedule. Okay, from the schedule. That means they are frozen, that they have no upcoming hearings. It is absolutely frozen right now. And we're really looking carefully at this situation because Richard's case is intertwined with the Walmart mass shooting case. And Joe Spencer has interfered in the case, obstructed justice in the case, has not rightfully um, helped his client, right? I mean, he is so dirty. He is so dirty. He is disgraced and he's dirty and he's done it in his own words. They were not my words, they were his own words. And of course, other evidence that corroborates the hard evidence that this what is a narrative that's a false narrative, and we have absolutely done what we could to notify all the media that this is a false narrative, proving it with Joe Spencer's own words. Joe Spencer's own words. And he sold out his client for 9,000 years in prison, right? With the federal case, 20 in the 90 life sentences, right? 90 life sentences each, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. So that is really breaking news. And then there we're also hearing about things happening in Mexico that could affect El Paso, and it's with the military commanders being targeted, and that's why we need justice. We need absolute justice. We do not need rogue mercenaries, rogue situations where it's just lawlessness, right? We need Leilani Hart arrested, properly arrested. We need these traitors um, addressed properly by the brilliance of our law, right? Um, and it's kind of like that. I really respect the Texas Constitution now, really using it in many of our filings. It is just beautiful, y'all. It's so beautiful, and it's so for the people, by the people. Um, y- you have to understand the law is what is helping us, and it's helping us understand uh, how we can get justice for our son. And so those that thought that they were above the law are not above the law. Okay. There's just no chance they're above the law. They might delay the accountability, but they are not above the law. And, this is the generals, or the judges, they might have like a little God complex or whatever and think they're above the law, but they're not. And, I today Valentine's Day is coming up, and we put together a selfie area for Valentine's memes, and my daughter-in-law played Love is in the Air, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, justice is in the air. And so when I got home, I put together the Justice is in the Air. If you haven't had a chance, you can also listen to Love is in the Air. um Great song, right? Love is in the air. And but justice is in the air. And let's see if I can read it. um Read it here. Yeah. So I posted up, justice is in the air everywhere I look around. Absolutely, y'all. Justice is in the air, every sight and every sound. For years we've waited. And I don't know, I probably should tweak that. We have waited for justice to be in the air, but we have not just stood still. We have worked very, very hard investigating and getting those leads and documenting those leads and the evidence and learning how the law works and filing through our system. And you know, whenever a filing was ignored or dismissed or wrongfully tampered with or whatever, because of of our filing in Mexico was tampered with. We know that. That's a fact. And but that's evidence now. You see, that's evidence, and that's evidence of wrongdoing and criminal activity. And so you have to think, I think, for us to stay sane in this insane case, um, we think, okay, let's move forward, and we can use that to help others. Because if we can use that to get these criminal, dirty individuals out of our government, um, and make room for those that really want to serve their countries, be it in Mexico or be it in the United States, then the people will be better off. And so, we just keep going and save all of that information, save the evidence, document the evidence, continue filing the evidence because you don't want to sit on it. You want to make sure that it's everywhere, right? It's everywhere. So justice is in the air everywhere I look around. We have filed all of our evidence, and justice is in the air, every sight and every sound. Like Joe Spencer's audio tapes, right? You can hear it for yourself that um, he is an absolute liar. That in the courts, he lied in the courts. And you're talking about in a death, looking at the death penalty, a death penalty case for his client, a death penalty for his client, and he is lying. He needs to be held accountable for that. And so, Richard, this case reminds us to never, ever stop. Never stop fighting for justice, because that it's never in vain. You will get it. And now the tide is turning, right? With this election. With the election, it is turning. And that's why supporting Yvonne Rosales was always important for us, because she was duly elected. She was duly elected, and she took her oath of office and installed properly after she had signed the statement of officer. So she is absolutely, and could be still, the district attorney of El Paso, the prosecutor for El Paso. Now that blows, isn't that mind blowing? That is just amazing. But because she's elected, we have to respect our elections. Really respect, and we have to protect that those elections are not hijacked. And that's what the 2020 election, um, when I was there, and now it's coming out that there were thousands of FBI, at the January 6th. And I'm like, okay, well, I looked them in the face. Let me tell you, I looked them in the face. Anyway, because I was absolutely working the crowd there. Um, and yeah, that I can tell you that I do not doubt that. If that comes out that there's thousands of FBI's agents at the January 6th, huge, huge 1 million people um, gathering at the Capitol, absolutely, I can tell you I would not doubt that. And so I got diverted. I got diverted. But eh, yeah, that now I forgot where I needed to come back. I need to come back. I'll come back to the song now. So the tide is turning, and we see with the firings of these FBI leaders, um, and I did put out what Nunes said. Mr. Nunes, Devin Nunes, what he said. He said that there's these few rats, that's what he called them, the few rats, this group of rats, and all the other FBIs were like circling them, right? And it's really telling because in the El Paso field office, you have the dirty agent, Jesus Eddie Nieto Jr., right? And that is really concerning for us because he obstructed the case with the whistleblower report in our son's case, who identified Leilani Hart and Tavita Nusa. Because can you imagine? You have a whistleblower coming out January of 22, uh, identifying the very individual with a dirty CID agent that the generals at our task force meeting refused or decided not to tell us about, who is the mother of Dallas Hart, our son's platoon leader, and they're keeping all of that from us. And now we have a judge that becomes a whistleblower that identifies Leilani Hart and Tavita Nusa as tampering with Richard's file on top of that, on top of submitting the most vile felony confession for her and her family, which includes Dallas Hart, okay? These accusations, this confession was confessing felony crimes by Dallas Hart, our son's platoon leader. And they failed to tell us that. And the FBI was sitting there, right? And the CID was sitting there. 15 plus agencies were sitting there. And Senator Ted Cruz asked them later, right? Saying, what did they say? What did they find out? They didn't tell him about Leilani Hart and about the dirty agent Tavita Nusa. And then Jesus Nieto leaked the whistleblower. This endangered the whistleblower, right? Leaked the whistleblower identification of Leilani Hart and Tavita Nusa to Leilani Hart and Tavita Nusa. You can't make this stuff up. So yes, the FBI there has what Devin Nunes calls a rat, and Jesus Nieto Jr. What's really concerning, because we look at things from a military point of view, and of course we have 30 years, or we have almost 80 years experience in our just our immediate family with the military. So we found out that Nieto is married to Cynthia Hernandez, a Nieto that works in the intelligence area at Fort Bliss. What? So this is like so much nepotism. It makes Mr. Nunes's statement very accurate, that it's this small little group that gets into these very important positions, and then everyone else kinds of circle, and then they can obstruct and they can run their criminal activity. And there's no other reason for Jesus Nieto to endanger a whistleblower, a judicial officer whistleblower, risking so much there at the border, identifying Leilani Hart and Tavita Nusa as interfering in the murder case of a U.S. Army soldier whistleblower, right, who was murdered in the line of duty, right? Uh, there's no other reason for Jesus. If you're thinking common sense, we're doing the whole common sense thing right now, right? Common sense is in the air. Um, is that Jesus Nieto has a conflict of interest? He has a conflict of interest, and it's a dirty conflict of it's a criminal conflict of interest. There's no other way to think about it. And so yes, that is, and also the FBI agent that lied to our face about Nadal Bayim, right? lied to our face about Nadal Baim, who also, um, absolutely identified as Richard as being dead. Shh, shh, remember that, and and that whole thing about Mexico and everything. Yeah. Um, but his connections are also connected to Leilani Hart. There are ties to the Hart family. There are ties to the military, to Bradford Bugado, who works absolutely with intelligence with Cynthia Hernandez Nieto. And yeah, so, justice is in the air. Justice is everywhere. Everywhere I look around. Justice is in the air, in the whisper of the wind. Justice is in the air, for the traitor's reign will end. And really pray for that, right? To everyone who has waited, who has prayed, who has fought alongside Richard's memory, for Richard's memory, your time is coming. The wheels of justice may turn slowly, but they are unstoppable. And I was told probably over a year ago that the wheels of justice roll slowly and that you have to be very patient. And so we are, and we're so grateful that we can tell that justice is in the air right now. And I don't know if we're going to understand everything, but I can tell you I understand a little bit more because of what we've had to deal with. And for the cartels, as soon as President Trump came in, for him to designate the cartels as terroristic, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, for them to be, uh, put in a federal category that can face a death penalty. That was very, very, very important to the case. And it seems like every policy that he does, even with this the tariffs seem to be directed at El Paso. Okay, maybe I'm just imagining things. I don't think so. I don't think so. Because El Paso seems to be the front door into the United States. So I've been told. The front door into the United States. And a lot of trafficking going on there. So, absolutely, we have it confirmed by the DOD that Richard was murdered on Fort Bliss. We have it confirmed by the DOD that he was murdered in the line of duty. Okay, in the line of duty. And now we want our son's remains. We have it confirmed that that Deliris Montanez-Berrios, who is a public person, okay, she's a public figure because she's running for public office, right? She has run for public office. She takes donations. She, has to be scrutinized more carefully, and she has to be held accountable for, you know, uh, more so than just a regular citizen. Now, no one is above the law. No one, we have equal law. But when you are a public servant, when you are a representative, one of the problems that we have is that our representational government, right, especially in El Paso with Veronica Escobar, has been hijacked. She absolutely does not represent the people of El Paso. That has been hijacked. She represents her donors' special interests. That's what she clearly, there's no doubt in my mind. That's what she represents. And so the hijacking of our representatives and the resources that we entrust to them, because she's given many resources and she sits on these committees, and the power that she has, the power that our representative have, and to be hijacked for special interests, has to stop. And so I think that that's what these tariffs are about. um, it's getting to the bottom of this, and it's shutting off. The funding has to be shut off. We know um, that the funding is allows criminals that that's why they get into the system, and then they bleed the system with the funding, and that supports them while they're doing their criminal activities. And so that has been very, very clear in this case, especially with the VA, with the disability benefits being misused, and um, lots of fraud surrounding that. So, yeah, holding our public officials to a higher scrutiny, um, it's because they get so many resources and power from us. And that's our generals. That is, and uh, everybody has to know that Deliris absolutely is a public figure. So that's why we're being very careful. We've cut off that communication, pausing it, because we have been told that she is a security risk, that she is a pilot, and she lied to us about that. And she is a pilot, that she is connected to the Santa Teresa International Jetport, um, and that she is an agent in the VA. And, so she can clear her name on that. Um, she clearly, there is ongoing opportunity for her to do that in the court. So we'll see how that plays out. But we have been told that she's a security risk. Okay, so thank you, everybody, and I'm hoping that I covered um, everything I had in my notes. I try to do it from the top of my head. So thank you so much. And justice is in the air for the brave who stood their ground, and justice is in the air, and the wicked will be found. The wicked will be found. God bless.